sport, her life.
This is Her Why.
Here's your host, Lauren McLean.
Welcome to Her Why, where we celebrate the women who make BYU sports great. Today I'm here with BYU women's soccer goalkeeper Paiton Collins. After stepping away from soccer for a year, Paiton's path brought her to BYU and became the Cougars' starting goalkeeper in the 2025 season. Paiton quickly made a name for herself, recording 6 shutouts and becoming the first BYU player to earn Big 12 Goalkeeper of the Week twice in one season. Paiton, thank you so much for being here with me.
I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
This is going to be awesome. You've been busy this offseason. You've had a lot going on. You're rehabbing from an ACL injury, as well as getting engaged to BYU football linebacker Isaiah Glasker. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Such a fun time of life. Tell us the story of how you got engaged.
We were looking at rings a couple weeks before, and I wasn't really picky. He showed me a video of the ring I have, and he was like, "Do you like this?" And I was like, "I love it." And so he got that ring, and we had a family vacation with my family planned in Mexico, like a couple weeks later. And my sister, for the longest time, she's like, "I want to do a white night. I want to do a white night." And Zay told me right after he bought the ring, he's like, "I'm going to propose you on white night." And I was like,
why would he tell you?
So then,
come on, Isaiah.
Then we got closer to it, and he was like, he kept like trying to throw me off. He was like, "Well, actually, I'm not going to propose you on white night anymore. Like, we need to wait longer." I was like, "Okay." And then he would a couple of days before he left, he was like, "The ring didn't get here. Like, I don't have it yet." And I was like, "Why are you telling me that?" Like, it was just, and then like the night before, he was packing the night before, and he brought if you saw the pictures, there was like "Marry Me" set up on the beach, like the letters, and he had packed the letters in like a duffel bag, and I was like, he packed the night before we left, and I was like, "Can I come over and hang out while you pack?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, why can't I come over?" I didn't know. I had no idea. So he kept trying to sell it that he wasn't going to do it then. And so then day of in Cancun, my mom was like, "Okay, we're doing family pictures, white night." And I was like, "Okay, not that weird." And then we're like walking out there, and the photographer guy just keeps taking pictures. He's like, "Hey, just you two, just me and Isaiah." And I was like, "Why are you taking more pictures of me and Isaiah than my mom and dad?" And so we took pictures. My best friend Presley Freeman on the soccer team was there with us, and then my sister's friend and my brother's friend, who's my cousin too, were all there too, and they weren't in our family pictures, and so they had set everything up on the beach while we went and took pictures in a garden. Oh. And so then the picture guy was like, "Okay, let's go down to the beach and take some pictures." And he was like, "Hey, you two walk out first." And we walked out, and I looked to my right first, and there was nothing. And I looked to my left, and it was all set up. So it was super cute.
Because did you deep down, you're like, "It's happening."
Kind of.
This is happening.
Even before it happened, we walked down to the lobby, and I kind of thought maybe he would propose, but I didn't know. And the first thing I did as soon as we got in the lobby is I looked in his pockets, if there was a ring in there, and there was no ring. So I was like, "Oh, maybe not."
Maybe he's really not.
He gave the ring to my brother. So it was really good.
That.
Yeah, it was
That's
awesome.
really cute. And in Cancun, come on.
It was perfect.
You can't beat that.
Yeah.
What would you say is the best part about dating someone who's a high-level athlete like yourself?
I think it's been the best thing for me. Someone that really understands the schedule and the grind and just goals in a sports way, other than because to us, sports is that's our career. That's our job right now, especially him. And so someone that really understands, okay, no, this is your job, and these are the things you need to get done. It's really nice to just have no interruptions, no distractions out of just a sport. Someone really
you don't have to explain
understands
yourself.
No, someone just understands it, and it's so nice.
How do you feel like he helps you be the best athlete you can be and the best person too?
Yeah, for sure. I think since dating him, he's really pushed me to focus a lot more on sports because before that I did focus on it, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't oh, this is my job. And now it's oh, wait, this is my job. This is who I am right now. And I really need to focus on that. And he really shows me, if you put the time in, if you focus on it, you can be everything you want. You can do everything you want. So it's really good for me.
What's one of the funnest things you guys do together? Because you have to have something outside of the sport, right, that you guys do together. What do you guys like to do?
We've been big into golf lately.
Okay.
So he started, we actually golfed a little bit last summer. Last summer we started putting bets on it. We were like, "Okay, if I beat you on this hole, you have to buy swig." So we would do that. And now this summer we're kind of back at it now, and it's warm outside. So
you pretty good?
I'm like good some holes, and then some holes I'm not as good.
That's golf.
Yeah.
You're never like good. Either really good or you're not good at all.
So
you're also a Pilates instructor at the Core and Spanish Fork, which is so cool. How did that opportunity come about?
I've been doing Pilates for a couple of years. It got big. The soccer team loves Pilates. So as soon as I came in here, like we would go to Pilates, like a bunch of us girls, we'd go to Pilates all the time. And I was like, wait, I really like this. And after I tore my ACL, I couldn't do a lot.
Yeah.
And so I asked my PT, her name's Mallory. I'm like, when can I start doing Pilates? And I was probably like 2 weeks post-op, and she was like, in a couple weeks. And I was like, really?
Wow.
So like a month post-op, I was doing Pilates, and I was like, I really like this. And then off-season kind of gets boring. Things like slow down, and you're like, what am I gonna do with myself now? And so it happened to be perfect timing. They did like a certification course through the Core, and I signed up for it, and I started. It was like a 50-hour course, so I took that, and then I just got lucky. Like they were like, okay, you guys can come onto our sub list. So they have a sub list, and like whenever other instructors need a sub, you can kind of sub in for them. But that was only once in a while, like you would get those opportunities. And then I just got super lucky. The owner and the manager of the Core were like, hey, like we want to give you your own class here. So now I'm teaching full time there. Well, not full time, but I have my own class.
So when the fall comes, the soccer season starts, are you going to still try to do it on the side? Will you even have time for that?
I don't know. I think I could have time for it still, probably once a week, but it's going to be hard because the time's going to change.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but I would love to still do it in the fall.
So fun. It really is like the best workout. So has Isaiah or any of your teammates come to your class?
Yes, a bunch of my teammates have. A couple of them came to my first class I ever taught. It was so cute. They were like, we're coming. And so
did that scare you a little bit?
I was terrified. Like my first class, I was driving there. I'm like, I'm going to throw up. I was so nervous. And it went great. And then after that, some of them will pop in here and there. And then for my birthday was in April. And I was like, say the only thing I want for my birthday is for you to come to Pilates class. And so he did. He brought two of his friends, and they came. And I remember we were in there, and the manager was there that day. And she saw them in the class, and I think they had like 5-pound dumbbells or something. And she goes over, she picks up the 5s, she grabs 10s, and she was like, no, you guys are using.
Yeah, she's like, come on.
And they said it was like the hardest workout ever. They're like, it was like, that's harder than like football conditioning. So it was fun.
You're like,
really
that's right.
Yeah.
That is
like,
right.
Yep.
Is he pretty flexible? I mean, because you have to be kind of flexible for Pilates. Did they do okay?
They did okay. They did great. They did better than I thought they would.
Let's talk about how you got into soccer originally. You began playing soccer at 5 years old, and you've said before you immediately knew soccer was going to be a passion of yours. So do you remember the moment that you realized, I really love this?
I don't think there was a moment I was like, oh, I love soccer. There was a moment that I was like, oh, I hate this. I remember
Really?
my mom and dad put me in every sport possible. They made me try everything, and I'm so glad they did. Like, I tried gymnastics. I hated gymnastics. I could not, for the life of me, I still can't. I can't do a back handspring. I can't do a backflip.
Well, you end up being 5'10", so
gymnastics
probably not going to be your path.
They put me in softball. It was like t-ball still. I was like, this is so slow. I can't do this. I liked basketball. I played basketball for a little bit. I was tall. I was good at it. And then it got to the point where it was like, it's kind of clashing with soccer. So it was like, kind of pick one. So then I picked soccer.
But you originally hated it, you said, right?
No, I hated other sports.
Oh, you hated other sports, but loved soccer.
I liked soccer, but there wasn't a moment where I was like, oh yeah, soccer is 100%. It was just like, no, not that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
what was it about soccer that made you excited to get up and go on the field and start competing?
I think starting off and like even what it is now was just like the social part of it.
Yeah.
I feel like soccer is such a big team sport, and it's such, for a moment, I really struggled like in high school I was the only goalkeeper on my team, my club team. Wow. And I was just like so bored all the time. I'm so far away from everyone else. I have to do my own drills. I have a completely different practice than them. And I'm like, why can't I just go hang out with them? So for me, it's always kind of been like the social, like best friends part of it. But I mean, it's a good sport too.
We're going to get into how you became a goalkeeper in a little bit, but in other interviews, you've credited your mom with supporting your soccer dreams. When did your family see how passionate you were about soccer and maybe like, whoa, she's actually really good at this and can go far?
Yeah. I was probably 12 or 13, I want to say. And I guess my mom was good friends with another, or I don't know if they were friends yet, but there was another coach like at our club that was he was a great coach. And my mom was like, can you please just put my daughter in some privates? And so I started private training at like 13 years old. And I think that's when they really saw it in me that, okay, it was worth it to put the money into her going to private trainings.
Yeah.
And I think it was. It really was worth it for me to do that. And I remember being at those trainings. I was like 13, 14 years old, 15. And there was like this 40-year-old guy that was my coach. And he was like, hey, I'm just going to kick the ball as hard as I can at you. And you have to catch it. And I was like, okay. And that's what we did. And that's what we did. So, but it really helped.
Let's talk about being a goalkeeper because you mentioned you were always one of the tallest players on your team, so naturally they'd kind of gravitate you towards goalkeeper. Was that something you were excited about at the time, or were you kind of like, I want to be on the field?
No, I hated it. I remember what team it was. I was like maybe 9 or 10, I want to say, and I was just the tallest girl. There was me and this other girl that were the tallest girls on the team, and she made it so clear. She said, I'm not playing goalkeeper. And so then I was like, okay. So they put me back there, and then I kind of got stuck back there. And then I was like, well, okay, I guess I don't have to run as much. So then I stayed back there.
That is hilarious. So at what point did you actually end up embracing it starting to love it?
Yeah, so when I started doing private trainings.
Okay.
And he was like, catch this ball. Like, it's coming at you. The speed I would kick at my boys, and you have to catch it. And I was like, okay, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, you're like, and I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah, and I was good, so that made it a lot funner too.
Goalkeeping is a position that comes with a lot of pressure, huge emotional swings. Like you said, you're kind of sitting there a lot of the game.
Yeah.
And then one second later, they're shooting it at you. So how have you learned to handle the highs and lows that come from the position?
I think a lot of people around me, if you ask them, would say I'm just like naturally really, I put off a front that I'm naturally like super calm. That's what like Jen's told me that. My mom tells me that. Isaiah tells me that. And I told Jen one time we had this conversation. She's like, do you have like a high and a low? And I was like, yeah, I feel it. Like I'll stand back there sometimes. I remember my first couple games starting, like my heart was like pounding out of my chest. Like I was freaking out. And Jen's like, I didn't even know. I was like, well, I'm glad you didn't know. But
you put on a good front.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just a good front.
How do you move on quickly after someone scores on you? Because that can be like, oh no, like this is my job, this happened, but literally they're coming at you, you know, in the next few seconds. So how do you move on from something like that and just keep playing?
I think some games are worse than others, and some goals are worse than others too. Like some goals you're just like, what was I doing? Some goals it's like, okay, that was really good.
Yeah.
And then some of them it's like, the ones that were like, what was I just doing, are really hard to move on from. And sometimes I do find myself like bringing that into practice the next day or bringing it throughout the game. And that's really when it throws off my game. And so I think like recognizing that it happened and that nothing's going to change it. Like obviously we can talk about it in film, what we could have done differently, but in that moment, nothing's changing it. And either you're going to sit and dwell on it and it's going to affect the whole rest of your game, or you're just going to get over it. And that's kind of what I think you have to do in every sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just have to like move on from things. It happened and there's nothing you're going to do that's going to change it. So
you have to have a short-term memory. Act like it never happened.
Yeah.
PKs have to be some of the most nerve-wracking things for you as a goalkeeper. Take me through your mindset when you know they're stepping up and they're about to kick at you and the game's on the line and it's just one-on-one. What's that like?
I honestly think that moment's a little bit easier because I do think there's a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, true.
Because at that point, if they miss the goal, I think it's a lot worse on them than if I get scored on.
True.
So that's kind of my mindset in that, and it's really just a guess at that point. When it comes down to it, like you can watch film, you can talk about what way they usually go. What if it's a new girl that comes up and kicks? What if she switches it up that game? Like, you really just don't know. So you guess. You guess.
So crazy.
Yeah.
And either you're the hero or you're not. That's wow.
And that's how it is.
So much pressure. What is one save in your career that you'll always remember?
I remember the UCLA game. It was like my first like huge game as a starter here. It was 1-0 the second half, And at the very end of the game, there was this one save. I like dove to the left, and that save was blown up everywhere. It was on social media. It was in like interviews. Everyone talked about that save, and I was like, it's a tendency save. Like that's what we work on all day. But there was a save. I think it was like 10 minutes before that. A girl had shot it, and I think it hit off of mica or something, like deflected super weird.
Yeah.
And there's a video of it too. Like it was going up far post. I couldn't read it because I'm like, this ball's spinning weird. It just hit off someone weird. It's going high up here. So I put my right arm up, somehow blocked it, and then I remember I banged my head into the pole.
Oh.
It was the same game. It was like 10 minutes before. And no one talked about that save. And I was like, I felt like that was a good save.
You're like, that was amazing,
Yeah.
and I got a concussion. So
But
why are we talking about this? Oh my gosh, did that kill?
no, I don't know if I really noticed it. But then I watched
know,
the
the
film back
adrenaline.
later, and I was like, I think I hit my head.
So good. Let's talk about, so during high school, you switched from Springville High to Maple Mountain High because you loved the coach there. They ended up quitting, and then there you are having switched and moved. And what was that time like in your life?
It was hard because I was in high school. It was right before high school. I think I was in 8th or 9th grade when we moved.
Okay.
But we did move originally for that coach, and it was the same coach that was doing private trainings for me when I was little. So that's why we loved the coach, and I was like, he wasn't like my full-time coach yet. He had just done privates with me, and he coached at Maple Mountain, and I was like, okay, I want to go there. I want to play for him. And so we moved 10 minutes away from our old house.
Yeah.
We moved, and I went there, and then something happened. He quit, and I was like, really? Like, I feel like we just moved for me. I don't really know if that's what it was at the end of the day, but I'm like, I feel like that's what happened. And now I'm in high school. But it did actually work out really well because a lot of my like friends that were on my club team were at Mapleton anyways.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big change to me, and it wasn't a far move. So, and then that coach actually ended up becoming our club coach
Okay.
the next year. So
you still
it
got
all
him.
worked out well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, during your senior year of high school, you received a few offers to play collegiately, including from your dream school, the University of Arizona. What made Arizona your dream school to begin with?
You ask anyone around me, and I always wanted to live in Arizona. I tell Isaiah that all the time. I said, I want
like the
to
sun and the
move.
heat?
I want to move to Arizona when we're older. And I'm like secretly crossing my fingers he gets like drafted to the Cardinals or something, and then we get to live there. I really love the desert. I like the dry heat. I think it's beautiful. And then I'm just like, Arizona, that's what it is.
So you just kind of had it in your mind, like that is where I wanted to go.
It's always been in my mind, like since I was little. That's why Arizona was my dream school. I just wanted to go there.
What was your reaction when you got the offer from them?
It was, I think, my junior winter, and we were down in Arizona. I had been talking to them for a minute, but we were down in Arizona for an ODP tournament, and they were like, why don't you just come down to Tucson after this tournament and take a visit around the school? So we did, and I didn't love Tucson, the city, but I did love the campus. The campus was so pretty. And yeah, things just didn't work out that way. But looking back now, I wouldn't change it for the world. So things happened how they were supposed to happen, for sure.
Yeah. You ended up stepping away from soccer after high school, right? You went to UVU, and remind me what you went. You were a business student at UVU, I think, right? Mm-hmm. So when did you start to feel kind of unsettled on the path you were on at the time?
So I was in business at UVU. I would go work in the mornings at my job I had. My mom made me get a job. I would go work in the mornings, and then I would go to school. And I remember I was about to go to my econ class. And I hated econ. It was so hard. And I remember I was
You're not alone.
Yeah, I was a couple minutes early, and so I went and like sat down at some benches, and I remember I was like, I do not want to do this. I was a business major because my mom did business. She was like, it's a great degree. I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just thought business was a good idea. And I was just like, I don't want to do this. Like, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I remember I was sitting outside that class, and I pulled up hair school on my laptop, and I was looking at hair school applications, and I was like, I texted my mom. I'm like, I think I want to do hair school. She was like, no, do not do hair school. Like, she has like this weird grudge against hair school. I don't know why. She's like, you don't get any paid time off. You don't get any benefits. And she just hated that idea. And I was kind of like, whoa. I'm like, well, I want to do this. And me and my mom, like, were like this at this time. We were not, my mom's like the greatest person in my life. I love my mom so much. And she really just wanted the best for me at this time. And I didn't see that. And so we just were not getting along. And I'm like, Mom, I'm doing hair school. And I'm like, I think it was like February or something. And like there was applications for class starting in like April. And I was like, I'm going to do it in April. And you're not stopping me. And she's like, just think about it for a minute. So I remember I went to econ. I was like, this sucks. I hate this. And then I kind of want to say it was like later that week that like everything flipped. And that's when this all started. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
In another interview, you mentioned that you didn't grow up particularly religious, but you started to turn to God for direction. How did things start to change for you as you started to rely a little more on God in that relationship?
That was the craziest thing to me. I didn't grow up religious, but my parents did always instill in us like a big belief in God. There was something more, but I just don't think they wanted all the rules of everything, and they just kind of wanted us to be free to choose. And I think at this point I was just like so lost, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. And I just remember I would like pray. I would just pray every night, every morning. And I get like emotional when I talk about this. But it's just like so crazy because I prayed and I prayed. I'm like, what do I do? And like that week, it was that week. And it was like everything. Like it was all my answers.
Wow.
So it was cool.
Your former club coach reached out to you and asked if you were still interested in playing college soccer. Yeah. How surprised were you to get that text?
Well, the initial text was, hey, do you have any interest in playing soccer still?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, well, I don't know. It depends where. It depends why.
Yeah.
Like, I've kind of moved on. It's been a year by now. And there just wasn't much information to the text. And so I was like, what are you talking about? And so I texted him back and I said, well, where? And I had initially thought UVU because that's where I was going to school. And I'm like, oh, I could probably get in a spot at UVU. And I was like, that's just kind of what I thought. And so I texted him, I said, where? And he responded to me, he said, I can't tell you where. That's when I thought about it some more. I was like, this shouldn't just come to me out of nowhere. And so I kind of took it in my own hands and I set up like a highlight film from high school and club. And I sent it to the UVU coaches because I'm like, okay, they're interested.
Yeah.
I sent it to UVU. They emailed me back. They're like, hey, come in for a physical. Come meet the coaches. Come meet the team. Everything. So I was like, oh, this is so great. And so I texted my old club coach. I was like, hey, I'm going into UVU for like a visit. And he was like, he texted me back and he was like, that's so great. He's like, that's not the school I was talking about. I remember those are the exact words he said, and I was like, what are you talking about? And
you're like, then who?
Yeah, I said, then who? And then that's when he told me, he's like, it's BYU. And I was just kind of like, what? Like, BYU, like, it's a great program. I'm like, there's no way they just want to come pick up someone that hasn't played in a year, that didn't really have that many offers out of high school. Like, I was just, like, really confused. So then I kind of took it in my own hands then, too, and I sent them my highlight reel. I went and met with them. And then it just kind of got into like this huge like mess between BYU and UVU. And I remember the UVU coach had called me in for a physical. And I was supposed to go, like, it was like a Tuesday and I was supposed to go Wednesday. But Tuesday I went and met with Jen and all the coaches here and I met the team here. And so I told them, I'm like, look, like, this is what happened. I'm kind of in like a situation with UVU right now. And I told them, I said, if this isn't going to work out, that's fine. But I'm like, I kind of want you guys to tell me so I don't blow this opportunity with UVU, because why did this opportunity come up?
Right.
And so they were still kind of like, we don't know. But they did understand that. And they're like, can you just push your physical back like one day at UVU? So I texted them. I'm like, hey, like some things came up. I can't make it tomorrow. Like, can we just push it back a day? And they were like, yeah, sure. So we pushed it back to Thursday. And then Jen was like, hey, can you come in on Thursday? And I was just like, so I had to push my physical back again. And they're like, yeah, can you push it back again? And I was like, I texted them again. I'm like, Thursday's not going to work. Like, can we do something else? And I was like, Jen, like, I just really hope you guys are being serious.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm blowing this other side, so.
And so they were like, no, just like push it back a day. We'll talk about things. And so I pushed it back, and they kind of were just like, what's going on? And then right before I went and met with Jen on Thursday, I had to transfer my records from UVU. And so right after I had called to get my records transferred, I get a call from the UVU coach, and he was like, why are you transferring your records? Like, are you talking to BYU? And I was like, yeah, like I'm about to go in. I'm about to go into this meeting. Like I was literally about to walk out the door, and I was like, I gotta go. And he kind of like tried to talk me out of it, tell me why I need to be at UVU and not BYU. And I was like, look, this is great, and I really hope I'm not blowing this. I don't know what this meeting's about with Jen, but I'm gonna go in. Like, I'll let you know how it goes after. And I went into the meeting with Jen. I had my mom and my dad with me. And we went into Jen's office, and all the coaches were in there. And Jen was like, we want to offer you a spot on the team. And my mom was like, is she getting her school paid for? Is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? And Jen was like, yeah. And I remember my dad was sitting on the left side of me on the couch, and he just starts bawling his eyes out. And I was like, I can't look over there because I will start bawling my eyes out. And so I just stared. I was just like staring at Jen, and I was just like, what is happening? And this was all within like 4 days.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just crazy. And then we went to the BYU Creamery and celebrated.
To celebrate. Yeah. What was it that made your dad so emotional in that moment?
I think both my parents really knew I didn't want to be done with soccer. I think they both really knew. And they both really saw the potential in me. And I put in so much work, and they put in so much work. They put in so much money. They put in so much of their life into my soccer too. And to just kind of see me like leave it like that, they were really frustrated. And so in that moment when they were like, oh my gosh, she's not done. She's still going to do this. She's going to do it. It was like I worked my whole life for it. And I think that's why my dad got so emotional, and he was just like, he just lost it. But
was everyone so surprised it was BYU?
Shocked, because growing up, not LDS, growing up not really religious at all, growing up I was always like, I don't want to go to BYU.
Yeah.
And then when it turned out to be BYU, everyone was kind of like, what? But it's seriously been the best thing ever. I couldn't have wished for anything more.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll hear more from Paiton on why she chose to play for the Cougars and how she unexpectedly found herself as the starting goalkeeper in 2025. This is Her Why. Want to know what drives BYU's greatest athletes? Deep Blue takes you beyond the stats and into the stories. Host Jason Shepard sits down with Cougar legends and rising stars to uncover what makes them tick. New episodes every Tuesday. Subscribe to Deep Blue wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean, joined by BYU women's soccer goalkeeper Paiton Collins. Paiton, you've said that coming to BYU has felt like God opened a door you maybe thought was closed to you. So what did this whole experience teach you about patience and timing?
Patience was big. Patience was big before I even got here. I took a year off. I didn't know I was being patient, but I was for a year. And then when I came in, I had to be super patient as well, because there was Lynette that was playing over me. She was an upperclassman. She was doing great. She did so awesome. And I remember after my first fall here, going into the next year, and I was kind of just like, okay, well, Jen's really big on if that's your spot, that's your spot. And it's your spot till you graduate or until you lose it. And so I was like, okay, well, next year I guess maybe I'll get some more time. I probably won't. I mean, Lynette's still here. She's still an upperclassman over me. And so just more patience at that point. And there was nothing you really could do but just work. I remember the spring came. I got some playtime in the spring. I was so nervous in the spring, too. It was no different than the fall. Well, it was different, but I didn't know. I was just so nervous. But it was fun. Like, I loved the spring. And we went into summer, workouts started, and I was just kind of like, okay, here we go again.
Was it were you a little frustrated during that time?
I was super frustrated. I mean, I think anyone in that situation, and I think especially as a goalkeeper, it's really hard because you don't get subbed. You don't get subbed as a goalkeeper. And so I mean, if you're not starting, you're not playing. Whereas other positions, if you're not starting, okay, you can get subbed in off the bench.
Yeah.
You can go in for a couple minutes. But as a goalkeeper, that's one spot. And so I was really frustrated, but there was no reason to take it out on teammates, and there was no reason to take it out on coaches. And I think that's a big lesson I've had to learn here, because growing up I was only goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I was only one that played.
Right.
And then coming here I wasn't, and it was a big change, but it's what soccer is. There's usually a second goalkeeper, there's a third, there's a fourth.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to deal with that and either wait until it's your turn, or, I mean, as bad as it sounds, like, if they mess up, then it's your turn. But
Right.
that's like
Right.
the
You just
nature
gotta
of
be ready.
sports. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you need to be ready. You don't know if you need to be patient. You don't know. And so it was kind of frustrating to like be in that weird in between area. But I'm sure a lot of people feel like that.
Right.
So
Well, here you are thinking your sophomore season too, that Lynette Hernandez is coming back again. So you're like, it's going to be the same old story, right? Then she unexpectedly retires from soccer 2 days before fall camp started.
It was 2 days. Yeah.
Where were you? Where were you when you found out? Number one, because
yes.
that's crazy.
Who was I with? I was picking up someone from the airport, and I get a call from one of my other teammates, Mackenzie Vance, and she was like, "Did you just hear the news?" And this was kind of before it had really dropped. This was right after she had gotten out of a meeting with Jen, and Jen had told the captains, and then the captains told leadership, and Mac was on leadership, and so Mac called me, and she was like, "It's your turn. Like, you better step up.
Saddle up, partner."
And I was like, okay. And I remember I was in the car and I just started crying. I was just like, it's time. And it was a lot. It was a lot. 2 days before fall camp, I'd gone all summer thinking I wasn't going to play this fall. And then out of nowhere, it was just kind of like, okay, your turn. We start next week. And I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Did you have a conversation with Jen or any of the other coaches where they officially were kind of like, okay, Paiton, it's you. Like, we need you. Let's do this.
Not that I really remember. I think probably like a run-in at practice or something. But Jen's really big on be ready.
Yeah.
And when it's your turn, and she expects that out of you. And if she needs to put you in, you better go out and you do good. And that's kind of it.
What an interesting thing, because I'm sure you grew to love Lynette Hernandez, and you looked after her.
Me and
She's
Lynette
such
were
a
great friends.
She's a great person.
She's awesome.
And
then it was just kind
so
of like,
sad, right?
But
then you
it
get
was
this news
sad.
where you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it was a weird line between this is really sad she's leaving the team, and then between this is really big for me. And it was a really hard balance to find, and I think it was also a really hard balance to like show like an audience that like, okay, I'm not coming in and like taking this from someone, and I'm not trying to like be this mean person and like step in and like be cocky and stuff, but at the same time, this is my spot now. And it was a weird line. And there was a weird line between, is there problems with Lynette and Paiton, or were they friends, or what happened there?
Right.
I think it was really weird to an audience as well, but like it was just a weird balance to find.
Did you get support from teammates?
Yeah.
During that
100%.
time, like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, everyone was like, let's go. And I think a lot of the people on the team too are just like Jen, and it's like when it's your turn, and you're kind of just expected to go out there and do your thing, and no one expects any more, any less. It's your job. That's what you're here for.
You ended up having an amazing season. You were the first Cougar to earn the Big 12 Goalkeeper of the Week award twice in a season. Started 18 games, recorded 6 shutouts, totaled 52 saves. Was there a moment from that 2025 season where you felt grateful that you stayed at BYU and you stuck with it?
100%. I think it was really hard my first year here, because I did think I'd have to sit another year, and I did think about, what if I do transfer? But then I kept going back to, why did this opportunity come to me? Like, why am I here? Why would I leave somewhere that came to me like this? And so I stuck through it through the spring. I stuck through it through the summer. And I think that ultimately showed me, like, this is why you stayed here.
Yeah. You mentioned that UCLA game where you recorded your first ever shutout. So in the previous game against Cal Poly, you mentioned someone made the comment that you were unproven as a goalie and you hadn't really made a name for yourself. How did that change the way you approached the UCL game and then each game after that in the season?
I think I'm really someone that reads in a lot to what other people say. And my mom tells me, like, don't do that. Everyone around me tells me not to do that. But I just am. It's just who I am. I'm a nosy person. Like, I want to know what everyone else thinks. I want to know what everyone else is doing. It's the same way with the engagement. I wanted to know everything about it. And so I remember, I think it was like an Instagram comment after the Cal Poly game. And someone said something about me, like, not being ready or something. And it kind of messed with me. It messed with me a lot. And it just goes back to, like, okay, you just have to forget about it. They're going to say what they want to say. Nothing I do can change what they're going to say. It's just who they are. It's just what they want to say in the moment. And so by the UCLA game, I had forgotten about the comment. I really had forgotten about it until you just brought it up.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm totally okay now. But, like, you forget about things and you move on, and it's not the truth, and they don't see everything to it. And so.
Oh, yeah. That's like, I'm sure Isaiah knows a lot about that too. Like, fans and people are just going to say things and they have no idea.
He's big into telling me not to read into that stuff
Oh,
either.
yeah. And
He's
some
like,
people use it as motivation.
Yeah.
Some people are like, I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you forgot about it. Forget about it again. It didn't happen. You had an incredible season, and you proved so much. Not that you had to prove anything to anybody, right? But yourself. But your 2025 season ended early in the regular season finale against Utah with a complete ACL tear, MCL, meniscus, and a fractured femur. Is that right? Oh, my gosh. And everything it took to finally play in college, have the season you were having. How devastating was it to have an injury like that?
Devastating. So devastating. And I don't know if you've ever torn your ACL or know anyone that has, but you know exactly what it is in the moment. And we can't really figure out if it was that play that completely tore it or if the play before had something to do with it. The play before, I knew I had tweaked something. I jumped and, like, landed weird, but I wasn't like, that was my ACL.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. And then the play after, I drop kicked it and I planted on my left leg and it just buckled in on me. And I was like, I know exactly what that was. And a lot of people say, like, when you do it, you hear a pop. You're, like, in all this pain. I never heard a pop. I was never in any pain. I remember that night I went home and I was, like, walking up the stairs and I was like, I'm fine. And I think I was trying to really tell myself nothing had happened. And I went in for an MRI the next morning at 7 a.m., went to bed. I get a call from our trainer and she was like, do you want to come in? And I was like, nope. You can tell me right now. I knew what it was as soon as she called me. So it was so devastating. It was, like, the worst thing ever. In the moment, it was awful. Like, I was bawling my eyes out, and I remember the Utah doctor had come over and she checked it. And she was just kind of like, yeah, you tore your ACL. And I was like, you're just going to...
In game? Yeah. She said that?
I was like, you're just going to, like, break it to me like that? Like, you're not going to say sorry? You're not going to, like, try to be nicer about it? Like, I'm not okay right now. And she was just like, yeah, it's torn. And I was like... And I remember my parents came over from the sideline, and they were back there. And then after the game, I'm like, I'm just in no pain. There's just no way. And so I was walking around fine. Like, they gave me crutches, and I'm like, I don't need these. And my grandma and grandpa were there, and they were like, you didn't do it. Like, I hurt my knee, and I know you didn't do it because you're walking around fine. And everyone was telling me I didn't do it. And I'm like, I'm not hurt. I didn't do it. And I did.
And you did. Oh, my gosh. So what was it that helped you get through that time emotionally, mentally, physically?
I tell everyone that tearing your ACL is so much more mental than it is physical. And it sucks physically. Like, I got really lucky that I wasn't in a lot of pain, but I know a lot of people are with theirs. But there's ways you can manage that. Like, you can get through the pain, you can do that. But it's so, so mental. And that first month was... I tell everyone, like, I think that was the hardest month, like, of my whole life. And it was just so mental. And it was, like, for the longest time, I was like, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why me? What could I have done different? There's nothing you could have done different. And so just, like, coming to terms with that. And I think still being in season and then being in playoff time was so extremely hard, too. Just to kind of, like, have to watch everyone move on without you. So I think once I got through that first month of rehab where I couldn't really do anything, and then once the season got over, I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay. Things will heal. I'll be back. But that first month was hard.
How are you feeling now? How's your recovery going? How's your knee?
Great. I tested my 6-month testing. Everything looks like amazing.
What are you most looking forward to for this 2026 season?
I'm just excited. I really don't know what's going to happen this season. And I think that's what excites me is I don't know. I have no idea if I'm going to get my spot back. I have no idea if I am going to be healthy. But it's exciting to know, like, I have the opportunity to get my spot back. I have the opportunity to be healthy. Like, I just have to work for it. And it is kind of in my hands at this point. So that excites me a lot.
Looking back on your journey, did you think your story would be different than what's playing out today?
Yes, I did. I thought I'd be at Arizona. I thought I'd be playing. I thought I would never tear my ACL. Here I am. I'm at BYU. I tore my ACL. Who knows what's going to happen this season? So it's
your
crazy.
younger self would be like, what? How did this happen?
It's a crazy story.
What are you most grateful for, though, as you look back on how far you've come from that girl in high school, that girl at UVU, and now here at BYU as the starting goalkeeper?
I could say I'm so grateful for the support that was around me throughout all of it, like especially my parents, because they didn't ever give up on me. And I think in high school and that year at UVU, I was just so lost and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I knew what I was doing wasn't what I wanted to do. And it made me sad. I wasn't happy. And so just like seeing where I was then to where I am now is just a completely different person. And like the support I've had in my life and the support I have in my life right now is out of the world. Like, I'm just so grateful for it.
I'm here with BYU goalkeeper Paiton Collins. Paiton, you are incredible. I'm excited to see what happens this season, and you're amazing, and excited to see where life takes you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much.
Thanks to Anna Burkholder for producing this episode with senior producer Cleon Wall. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio.